Hello and welcome back to Reactions by Jeff. Today I will be looking at Laura Fabian's Perdere l'amore. And I haven't heard this song before. I'm going to go into this one blindly. I trust Laura Fabian to be amazing. So without any further ado, why don't we just get started?
My mom is Italian, and I feel Italian for so many things, for food, for clothing, for people, the way I live life, I'm very Italian. And then very North American, very Canadian, even Quebecoise, I can really say, because it's the country that welcomed me as a young woman, and a young woman that had a lot to dream about and wanted to dream really hard. It's one of the most beautiful songs performed by Massimo Ranieri. I just can hear my mom sing it.
E adesso andate via, voglio restare solo con la malinconia, volare nel suo cielo. Non chiesi mai chi eri, perché scegliesti me. Che fino a ieri credevo fossi un re. Perdere l'amore quando si fa sera, quando fra i capelli un po' d'argento li colora.
What I'm struck with thus far as we get into this is again, she sets a scene. The very opening of this song, you notice her eyes when she does her little intro and she talks about her mom singing this song, and then there's that second where you see her completely disconnect from the room and enter into the the song that she's about to sing. And so I it's something that she's really good at, and is something that I wish a lot more, and I hope it's done more, but when I was growing up, we were not necessarily trained as singers to think about the individual emotions that I might be carrying with me, but the whole group collective of creating one voice for everything. So I wasn't really good at doing solo stuff like this, and she's really good at sort of assuming that character and becoming um the in what other people would say becoming the song. And it's sort of weird that I stopped here at a place where it says you risk going crazy. Well, let's keep going.
Rischi di impazzire, puoi scoppiarti il cuore, perdere una donna e avere voglia di morire. Lasciami gridare, rinnegare il cielo, prendere ossa assate tutti i sogni ancora in volo, li farò cadere ad uno, spezzerò le ali del destino e ti avrò vicino.
As I was listening to this part here where she was becoming a little bit bigger than the first part of the song where the song was growing, one of the great techniques that um, I remember being told off and on as I was learning how to sing is whenever you have something important to say, you raise your enunciation, your diction level, and so you start what one of my coaches would call spitting everything out. And she does this really good job. And I mean, Italian's a great language for this because it's a purer sound, right? So you get a lot more chomp, and yeah, I'm turning into Pac-Man there. But as you listen to that section again, her ability, and she does this in a lot of her songs, is when she has something important that needs to be said, and there are a lot of words. You never lose any of the words. She's really good at keeping her vowels big, but the words don't disappear at the same time. And for me, I really she and I are roughly the same age. I wish she was about 6 or 7 years older, so I would have heard her when I was learning how to sing, because that is a technique I would have picked up on really easily. I mean, sadly, well, not sadly. I ended up sounding more like Michael Crawford in Phantom of the Opera for a while, with this sort of deep, dark, sort of eerie tone. But I, this stuff here is stuff that I remember because teachers and coaches and stuff would tell me this every once in a while. So let's go back a little bit.
Rinnegare il cielo, prendere ossa assate tutti i sogni ancora in ballo, li farò cadere ad uno, spezzerò le ali del destino e ti avrò vicino. Comunque. Comunque ti capisco e ammetto che sbagliavo.
That was a nice transition.
Facevo le tue scelte, chissà, ma poi chissà che pretendevo. E adesso che rimane di tutto il tempo insieme.
I'm going to stop there. As I said, I really, like I said, that was a really great transition, meaning how how performers handle the moment when the music stops and then they pick up again. It's not necessarily an art form. I mean, most performers are taught that. Not very many people try it or do it really well. But how people handle owning the silence within songs, and that's why that made it a really great transition for me, is that there was this moment of silence and she picked up from that silence and she changed the entire tone of the song in that moment. She moved from this big section, took the break, and then took the emotional energy from that break to shift the emotional tenor of the next section of the song. And so again, that's something that I picked up on because I remember, again, I always tell people, well, yes, when I talk to people about performances, and I think I've written this somewhere in one of my responses, yes, your voice teachers were correct.
Una donna troppo sola che ancora ti vuole bene. Perdere l'amore quando si fa sera, quando sopra il viso c'è una ruga che non c'era. Provi a ragionare, fai l'indifferente, fino a che ti accorgi che non sei servito a niente e vorresti urlare, soffocare il cielo, sbattere la testa 1000 volte contro il muro, respirare forte il suo cuscino, vivere tutta colpa del destino, se non ti ho vicino, perderò l'amore, maledetta sei, che raccoglie i cocci di una vita immaginaria, pensi che domani è un giorno nuovo, ma ripeti non me l'aspettavo.
I'm stopping here. I'll go back a little bit. This she and again we all know that she and Dimash are they Dimash has studied what she's done, and uh, he's taken a lot of he's taken some of the things that she's done into his own performances, and one of the things that Laura Fabian is really good. Like I just said in the previous when I stopped before, is that shift from being really loud to really soft. And I mentioned this in more than one of my reactions is how people build their lines, right? How they go from soft to loud and really sort of encapsulate the emotional intensity of what they're singing and making sure that that intensity is there because if everything is done in the middle range, that mezzo forte sort of range, nothing stands out. Nothing there's no energy with it. That's one of my complaints about Bjork. But that's a different thing and she's not going to end up on my channel. Um, but this her way of building things because we know that she can scream and we hear it. And but she can also bring it down so that we become part of that moment. Like I've always said, is that she drags us in. Whether or not we want to come for the ride, she's going to bring us into that by bringing us into this small space, this her openings and of phrases and stuff like this and lines. She brings us in and then she brings all of that emotion once we're in the middle of that conversation she's having with us. She will give us everything that she has, and here's one of those examples of her doing that.
che raccoglie conci di una vita immaginaria. Pensi che domani è un giorno nuovo, ma ripeti, non me l'aspettavo, no, non me l'aspettavo. Prendere ossa, sape, tutti i sogni ancora in volo, mi farò cadere ad uno, spezzano le ali del destino e ti avrò vicino. Perderò l'amore.
Okay. One of the reason that I had that smile on my face for the last like 45 seconds of the song was again like I say with Dimash and a lot of performers. I mean, I don't do a lot of different performers on this channel, but in my lifetime, the things that have always just gotten me, I as some people have said, I don't necessarily get involved in the huge emotions of the song, and I focus a lot on the technical aspects. I do. I'm not gonna. I can't hedge that in any way. But one of the technical aspects that I have always been drawn to is someone with really great breath support and really like Barbara Streisand growing up. When I was growing up 100 years ago, before the gray, when she would hit and sustain a note, I would sit there and I would fight to learn how to hold that note as long as she did. Like in Woman in Love, just there's a note that I just wanted to learn how to hold as long as she did. In No More Tears, Enough is Enough, that little light thing that she sings, that 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 note she sings as they move from the soft section into the disco section. I wanted to learn how to do that. Linda Eder is another person whose breath control is something that I always strive to learn how to do. And again, I'm that's the stuff that I look for. And so I know that I I know that a lot of people are turned off by the way that I do this, and I can't be anything other than I am. And I've tried and it doesn't work. Um I and so but the reason that I started smiling and the reason that I started looking at this is the way that she got to certain notes. I'm listening in the back of my head and she's just hanging on to this note and it's just she hadn't breathed and she moved up into the top of this line and it just was just amazing. And she and again we've seen this in You're Not From Here and some other performances of hers. is that she's not afraid of holding a note. She knows exactly how to make her breath control and just work. And I'm blithering on about this, and I actually this is something I if you need to see me get emotional in a sense, this is how I get emotional. I get this excites me. Um, I'm not gonna. I don't necessarily. I don't have a lot of empathy, so I don't get involved in the emotions of the moment, and I can't apologize for that. It just is. But the technical aspects of this is where I get excited. This is why I'm drawn to her. This is why I was drawn to Whitney Houston. This is why I was drawn to musical theater. This is why I was drawn to Linda Eder. This is why I was drawn to Barbara Streisand. This is why I was drawn to the people that I've been drawn to over my lifetime. Is that and Dimash at the same time. I mean, Autumn Strong and a lot of those songs, really great emotional things, but I'm not listening to that. I'm listening to how he does things. That's why I call him a vocal rhetorician, not because I'm being mean to him and not because I'm trying to make it sound like he's a manipulative performer. She's a rhetorician also because she understands how to take the tools that she has to bring her message to the audience. That is good communication. That's rhetoric. And so I again, it's those technical aspects that she applies in a very specific way to help make sure that her audience is satisfied at the end and understands what it is that she's trying to get across. That's why we didn't understand Josh Groban in the song from AI, because he couldn't separate himself. He couldn't get comfortable with his body within that song. He couldn't get comfortable with the emotions of the song to free his body to do that. That was an issue. He didn't have the empathy to lose himself within the song and feel comfortable with that. She doesn't have that problem. I mean, her body and all of this stuff. I mean, I'm going on way too long about this, but I it is. It just is. So I'm just gonna keep going. But this is why I love these types of performers, and this is what I come to these reactions for. And that's why a lot of the reactions that I have are things that I've seen before, because I do want to pick up on those things. I do want sh- I guess in some ways show people what it is that I see when I view something. And if I don't necessarily see something, if I see something on the first try, I'm going to miss a whole bunch of stuff. I've been around Laura Fabian enough of late that I can pick up on the things that she does a little bit faster. So anyway, I'm done blithering right now. Yay! But I do want to hear from you guys. Again, just let it all out in the comments. Just keep telling me all the stuff that comes to you about all of this stuff. This was a really great song. It had this really great emotional arc to it, and her ability to execute it through her body and her voice, always on point. So let me know in your comments. This wasn't the greatest video quality, but I did like the subtitles because meine andere Sprache ist Deutsch. So meine Italienische ist schlecht. Well, nicht, nix. So anyway, please comment. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Like the video if you like the video. Please let me know, again, what you think. But with that, I'm going to let you guys go. Enjoy the rest of your day. And as always, be safe.